Caitlin Clark, the face of the WNBA, the player who sells out every arena, might actually be on the verge of walking away. Not next season, not years from now, right now. The rumors say she's being courted with a jaw-dropping $5 million overseas deal, and fans are convinced the league's treatment of her could push her out for good. In this video, we're breaking down everything: the brutal fouls and disrespect Clark faces in the W, Sophie Cunningham's shocking comments that lit this fire, the insane double standards in the league, and the mental pressure of being the most scrutinized athlete in women's sports. And of course, the massive European offer that could change everything. By the end, you'll see why fans are saying the unthinkable might not just be a rumor anymore.
As far as what's going on in the WNBA, we are on them. We gonna stay on them. It's not gonna change. It's not gonna change. We're on today nonsense.
Fans first caught wind of the drama when Sophie Cunningham, one half of the Blonde Bombers, basically said out loud what people had been whispering for weeks. She admitted Caitlin's WNBA future might not be as long as everyone expected. That single statement was like pouring gasoline on a flame. Suddenly, the possibility of Clark quitting wasn't just a wild rumor anymore, it was an actual conversation.
Dude, I don't know. Everyone keeps asking, everyone's like, you know, and I'm like, literally, she doesn't even know. Like, it's just like a day-by-day legit type of thing. And so, yeah, she's close, but like, you also have to remember, like, she could be playing if it wasn't in the WNBA by now, but like at this level, with how deep and like how good people are nowadays in our league, which is the best it's ever been, like you can't just be good. You have to be on top of your game. And so just trying to get her back in game shape, I think, is what they're trying to do. But like, again, it's literally a day by day. I'm not holding out any information.
Social media exploded with debates, with fans asking, would they support Clark if she actually left? And the scary part for the league, many of those fans said yes. Sophie hinted at how Caitlin's injury situation wasn't being handled right, and people connected the dots. If the WNBA can't protect its brightest star, why would she stick around? That panic set the stage for what came next, the realization that the warning signs had been there all along. Clark's second year in the WNBA hasn't been about highlight reels and easy wins, it's been about survival. Every single game, she gets battered, fouled, shoved, and hacked.
That WNBA TV ratings are down more than 50% since Caitlin Clark's injury. And it was also reported that the Indiana Fever television viewership is also down over 53%. Now, I know a lot of us were expecting some sort of dip since Caitlin Clark has been out with injury, but I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA.
Fans joke that she needs football pads just to make it through the first half. And while other stars get special whistles protecting them from hard contact, Clark has been treated more like a punching bag than the league's face. This double standard has only fueled resentment.
Guys, today, is there any chance that the WNBA, that Kathy Engelbert saw some of the ratings that I'm about to show you now and said, hey, Indiana Fever, can you do us a favor? Can you do us a solid? Can you just tease a Caitlin Clark return, kind of boost these up a little bit? Can you just dangle a Caitlin Clark return in front of the fans' faces, try to boost these ratings up a little bit? There was one matchup that this league can consistently rely on to produce massive viewership numbers.
Fans compare how Paige Buchers is already treated like a golden child, while Caitlin gets slammed to the floor without so much as a whistle. Coaches and insiders have been complaining, but the league just shrugs it off. And when Sophie called it out, her comments hit home because they revealed what fans already believed: the WNBA isn't protecting Clark. And that made rumors about overseas offers feel much more real. The rumor spreading like wildfire right now is that European clubs are lining up to throw money at Caitlin Clark. We're talking $5 million contracts, private jets, and the superstar treatment that the WNBA refuses to give. For context, WNBA salaries are capped at a fraction of that. Overseas, the money is bigger, the seasons are shorter, and the respect is often higher. That's why countless players already spend their off-seasons in Turkey, Spain, or Italy. But if Clark made that move full-time, she'd instantly become the highest-paid women's basketball player on earth. Fans aren't just speculating, they're visualizing it.
And she also would be able to play if this was not sumo wrestling, if this was not UFC, if you guys did not play rugby in these basketball games, she'd probably be able to get out there and do her thing. But she has to put on all this armor, which caused her to get hurt anyway. She had to put on all this armor because y'all don't play basketball. It is rugby.
Imagine Clark lighting up arenas in Madrid or Istanbul, with American fans staying up at 3 a.m. to watch streams just like they do for Euro soccer. That image isn't far-fetched, and the WNBA knows it. Because if Europe really does put $5 million on the table, the league has no way to compete. And that's the nightmare scenario everyone is whispering about. What really escalated things was Sophie Cunningham herself admitting that Caitlin could probably already be playing if this wasn't the WNBA. She suggested Clark's injury status was being dragged out unnecessarily, day by day, week by week, without real answers. That line hit fans like a gut punch, because it made it sound like the league might actually be part of the problem, not the solution. And it wasn't just about Caitlin's health. Sophie herself has been fined so often she might as well be the league's ATM. Yet when Angel Reese or other stars criticize refs, nothing happens.
When I think about Caitlin Clark, the operative word that comes to my mind is gratitude. There's an incredible level of gratitude that should be accorded to this young lady with what she did for the sport.
How was the attendance for Team USA in the Olympics? What would it have been like if Caitlin Clark was playing on that team? Remember the first game? Look at this right here. National broadcast viewership. What are we talking about here? 1,000, what is that? 1.219? Is that the number? And the game afterwards got 485,000. So the Fever in their game against the Minnesota Lynx was 1.219.
Sophie points out favoritism, and suddenly her bank account takes the hit. Fans saw that as confirmation of what they've been feeling, that the WNBA picks who to protect and who to target. And in that uneven system, Caitlin Clark is left exposed. The favoritism is impossible to ignore. Paige Bueckers gets whistle after whistle the moment she steps on the floor. Meanwhile, Clark is slammed to the hardwood and punished for even daring to complain. Angel Reese openly calls out referees, laughs about Clark's supposed special treatment, and faces no consequences. Sophie Cunningham cracks one joke and gets fined. How does that make sense? Fans see it, players see it, and the resentment only grows. This double standard has created villains and golden children in the league's narrative. Instead of celebrating the star who literally revived ticket sales and merchandise numbers, the WNBA is burying her under biased refereeing and inconsistent rules. That's why so many believe Clark might actually walk. Because at the end of the day, who wants to play in a league that seems to resent the person carrying it? Beyond the injuries and the fouls, there's another weight-crushing Caitlin Clark expectations. She isn't just a basketball player anymore. She's the face of Nike, State Farm, Gatorade, ESPN, and the entire WNBA brand. Every single game is on national TV. Every missed shot is a trending topic. Every foul becomes a Twitter war. That kind of constant pressure isn't just exhausting, it's suffocating. History proves it too. Simone Biles, Naomi Osaka, Serena Williams, all global icons who admitted the mental load of fame can be crushing. Caitlin Clark is now living that exact reality, but with even less support from her league. And when you stack that on top of the WNBA's double standards, you can see why whispers of her leaving suddenly don't feel so far-fetched. The question is, why would she leave? Why would she stay? And then there's the rivalry factor. Angel Reese has been marketed as Clark's nemesis, a storyline the league milks for clicks and ratings. But behind the scenes, it's created real tension. Teammates resent Clark for being the face of everything while they stay in the shadows. Opponents resent her fame, refs don't protect her, and yet the league relies on her to fill every arena. It's a lose-lose situation where Caitlin takes all the hits while others reap the benefits. Without Clark, the Indiana Fever become irrelevant again. Attendance drops, ESPN cuts back coverage, and the WNBA slips back into obscurity. With Clark, every single arena sells out. That imbalance has fueled resentment not just in rivals, but even in the league itself, which is exactly why the "what if she quits" scenario feels more terrifying than ever before. So let's play out the scenarios. Option 1, Caitlin stays. She rehabs, pushes through, and maybe wins MVPs, but the injuries pile up and the burnout grows. Option 2, she goes to Europe. She cashes in millions, dominates overseas, and embarrasses the WNBA by showing the world what real respect looks like. Option 3, she leaves basketball entirely. Golf, endorsements, media, Clark could make tens of millions without ever risking another foul to the face. No matter which option you choose, the WNBA loses. The league has already shown it doesn't know how to protect her, doesn't know how to market her properly, and doesn't know how to play fair with its stars. If Clark quits, it won't be seen as betrayal. It'll be seen as survival. And the WNBA will be left scrambling, wondering how they fumbled the biggest star in women's sports. At the end of the day, Caitlin Clark doesn't need the WNBA. The WNBA needs Caitlin Clark. Sophie Cunningham just said out loud what millions of fans have been thinking. The way things are going, Clark's future in this league isn't guaranteed. Between the brutal treatment, the shady double standards, the mental pressure, and now the rumored $5 million European offer, she has more reasons to leave than to stay. So here's the real question. What happens next? Does Caitlin tough it out and force the WNBA to change? Does she take the money and dominate Europe? Or does she shock everyone by leaving basketball altogether? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because one thing's for sure, this story is far from over and the league may never be the same.
The WNBA has a problem. And that problem is Caitlin Clark not playing in WNBA games. Now, what all does this affect? The ratings are plummeting. Guys, there's ratings for a couple of these games that are eye-pop.
The biggest elephant in the room is the paycheck. Caitlin Clark makes just a rookie-scale WNBA salary around $76,000. That's less than what NBA water boys earn. Sure, endorsements push her numbers higher, but her actual paycheck from the league? Insulting. Meanwhile, Europe is dangling $5 million on the table for one season. Do the math, that's 65 times more than her fever salary. Fans aren't blind to this. They're openly saying on Twitter, why risk her body for peanuts when Europe treats her like royalty? The more you look at the numbers, the harder it is to justify her staying. For the WNBA, that's not just embarrassing, it's catastrophic proof that their system doesn't value their own stars. Caitlin Clark is already on the injury radar. From high school through college, she's played heavy minutes, carried teams, and taken constant contact. Now in the WNBA, she's getting hammered nightly without protection. Doctors have quietly warned that playing through this level of abuse could short her career by years. This is where Europe looks tempting again: shorter seasons, fewer games, and better recovery windows. If Clark wants to preserve her career, Europe isn't just the more lucrative option, it's the safer one. And fans know it. They've seen stars like Candace Parker and Diana Taurasi burn out early because the WNBA grinds them down. Why would Clark repeat history when she has a golden escape hatch? Here's the wildest twist: Clark might have actually been treated better in college. At Iowa, she was the queen of the court. Every whistle went her way. The refs knew she was the show, the ticket, the product, and the NCAA milked her fame to the max. In the WNBA, it's the opposite. Refs swallow their whistles, media drags her constantly, and rivals hack her like she's disposable. That sharp drop in treatment is part of why so many fans say Clark looks more miserable now than she did in Iowa. And if she's already tasted what it feels like to be properly valued, then Europe offering money and respect becomes a no-brainer. Every headline about Caitlin Clark is a minefield. If she scores 30, she's selfish. If she passes, she's not aggressive enough. If she gets fouled, she's soft. Meanwhile, Angel Reese can throw shade every other day and get praised as a marketing genius. This lopsided narrative has been fueled by media companies desperate for controversy clicks, even if it's at Clark's expense. But here's the kicker: European media doesn't play this game. Over there, stars are treated like gods, not punching bags. If Clark moves overseas, she doesn't just escape the WNBA grind, she escapes the American media circus that has been tearing her down since day one. That alone might be worth more than the $5 million. Let's not pretend teammates are thrilled with her presence either. Whispers from Fever insiders suggest resentment is real. Clark's face is on every poster, her jersey outsells everyone, and yet she's still the rookie. Veteran players don't like it. They feel overshadowed, underpaid, and ignored while Clark soaks up all the spotlight. That locker room tension is poison. And it's not just Indiana, players across the league are salty. Clark represents everything they never got: hype, sponsors, and TV deals. The problem is, instead of embracing her, many see her as the enemy. That's why she's fouled harder, mocked more often, and isolated in ways no rookie should be. Leaving the WNBA might be her only way to escape the jealousy. It's easy to forget, but Caitlin Clark isn't just an athlete, she's a walking corporation. Nike, State Farm, Gatorade, and ESPN all have millions riding on her image, and those brands aren't happy watching her get shoved into the floor while referees shrug. There's already chatter that corporate sponsors are quietly nudging the WNBA to protect her more or risk losing their investment. But if the league won't listen, those same sponsors could easily push Clark toward Europe, where they'd still profit from her global stardom without the constant drama. At the end of the day, corporate America doesn't care about the WNBA, they care about Caitlin Clark. And if moving her overseas protects the brand, they'll support it in a heartbeat. One of the scariest parts for the WNBA is realizing Clark's fanbase isn't tied to the league, it's tied to her. She could play in Istanbul, Madrid, or even Antarctica, and fans would still tune in. In fact, some fans are already saying they'd rather watch her stream European games than sit through another WNBA broadcast. That's a nightmare scenario for the league. Because if Clark leaves, she doesn't just walk out with her talent, she walks out with the audience. Ticket sales, merch, TV ratings all vanish with her. The WNBA would collapse back into irrelevance almost overnight, and fans know it. The loyalty isn't to the league, it's to Caitlin Clark. There's one last theory fans are buzzing about, that Caitlin Clark's camp might be leaking these rumors as leverage. By floating the $5 million Europe deal, she forces the WNBA to confront the reality of how poorly they're treating her. In other words, this might not be about actually leaving. It might be about forcing the league's hand. If that's true, it's a genius move. Clark puts pressure on refs, executives, and even Adam Silver's NBA office to step in and fix the bias before it's too late. The question is whether the WNBA calls her bluff, or whether she actually packs her bags and makes history as the first superstar to walk away while at her peak.